Alright, y'all. Someone told me that this episode was gonna be scary as fuck. So, the stupid bitch I am, of course, I'm gonna have to go into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I am back with Heaven's Secret Requiem Season 2, Episode 8. Y'all, I have no idea how to tell you how disturbed I am about last episode. Like, the Lord of the Flies. Oh, no, I actually had nightmares from that one. We had a nice little moment with CAIN, and he actually confirmed what we all have been thinking, and we've been known for a while now. He has known us from the past, and apparently we suppressed that memory, but he's hopeful that we will gain it back. Now, I hope we will gain it back fast, because I want to know. I want to know their connected backstory. I do. And it would also explain how CAIN always kind of was capable, like, to sniff us out, if that makes sense. When we first got to the hideout of this group, we immediately tried to find ways to escape from the upper floor bathroom. And CAIN immediately showed up. He didn't even allow us the opportunity to leave. He always was like with us one step ahead, because he got used to us. He got used to our attitude. So that was so beautiful. Y'all, I just need to know. Then, we followed those bitch asses that took the Book of the Apocalypse. And we ended up in a bunker with all of those dead bodies. And then it ended. So, let's hope that no one hurt us. But if they did, let's smack the shit out of all of them. The last pages are near, but what price will you have to pay for them? Tell me. Episode 8, Exquisite Corpse. Alright. Exquisite Corpse, what the hell? Exquisite Corpse is a group game where the first person draws something random at the top of a piece of paper and folds over it and passes it to the next person. Since each person's drawing is hidden, every subsequent person draws something of their own imagination. This is repeated until there is no more room on the page. When it's unfolded, the result is a wild surprise. Each person sees their own meaning in it. Oh, okay. The voices from the radio echoed throughout the bunker, fading gradually down the dark passages. Each member of the squad tensed. Considering the book is still here, it's unlikely the cultists are gone and have left it behind. I think it's ridiculous that she even allowed these bitches to take it in the first place. But ignoring the hate I feel towards our MC, Noah's radio was loud. If they heard us, they will definitely show up. We need to be ready. A minute passed, and another. The extreme silence of the bunker remained undisturbed without a single other sound. Seems like no one is around, at least not here by the passages. Relaxing, I looked around. This research center was supervised by the Order. According to Portia, this is where the missing pages of the Book of the Apocalypse are. The cultists weren't able to open the vault door. It's still locked, which means everything inside is safe. I hope the mechanism still works. I don't know how many years it's been since it was used. Without waiting for the others, Portia walked ahead. We hurried after her. Behind me, I heard quiet whispers. It was hard to tell who started the squabble. Where did you get the knife? To peel potatoes. Oh, bye. Do you really think it'll help? What does it matter to you? My goodness, what's going on? Don't hurt yourself or you'll make more work for us. You weren't thinking about that when you leaned out of the car and fed that infected. Amen, my good sis. Honestly, I'm all in for Noah in this combat. I'm in for Noah because it is true. He felt the need to hang his head out knowing about what kind of bitches are hanging around. The general stopped and glared menacingly at the bickering soldiers. Noticing the pause, Portia turned around. At that moment, a heavy black gate fell in front of her. Oh my god. Another second and all that would have been left of her would be a wet splatter. The gate blocked our path, separating us from the side with the door leading to the bunker and the Book of the Apocalypse. Coughing from the dust that was kicked up, Portia backed away. If the auto protection worked, then the mechanism should be fine too. And Nia pointed to a rusty red spot under the gate. It seems that people who were here before have already been caught. The squad looked around. It's quiet for now. Did the cultists leave, or did they decide to hide until the last minute? I wonder where these nut shops went. I think the right question is, how do we get to the other side? Is it literally, like, completely surrounding us? Like, I don't know if that's a thing, but maybe one demon can, like, heat it up or something. Like, you'll know what Lucifer would do. He would always, like, burn everything on fire. If you need to make a hole in the grate, that's no problem. No, let's not make any more noise. Any more noise? So we're supposed to just sit here like caged animals? Like we can't move, we can't do shit. So that means that we will be easy bait for the cold. Portia, is there any way to lift this fence? Yes, but the lever is on the other side. We can't get there through the upper floors of the science center. There's a warehouse there with a manual dumbwaiter that leads to the bunker. One of us will have to go down and open the passage for the rest. Okay, that's what we'll do, but we won't go until we know it's safe here. If Portia opens the entrance to the vault right now, there's nothing to stop the cultists from attacking us, taking the pages they couldn't get to on their own. So let's head to the warehouse, and on the way we'll search the entire building. Maybe we can even get Nick back. Nick? Really? The general's last words made Greg flinch, but he quickly pulled himself together. You actually want to get him back after he betrayed you and betrayed you? Y'all. But we get all the hate? Nah, the general is a hater. Can't stay here. For once, you're on my good graces. If the cultists return for the book before us, do as you see fit. We can't give it to them. The angel looked at me and sighed heavily, then nodded. Ooh, because we did talk about the fact that he lost control. And he doesn't like that part of himself. And when the general says do as you see fit, that means that the general will be applying on this man's darkest side. He paused to answer. Was he wondering if it was safe for us to split up? Good. I think Nia is strong enough to protect you in such small quarters. CAIN. The sadness. What you gotta say? Dimitri pulled out his pistol, removed the safety catch, and cocked the hammer. Portia did the same and pointed toward one of the passages. Come on, I'll show you around. Forming a line, we slowly started walking. Soon stairs appeared ahead, and we found ourselves on the first floor. Everything in that part of the research center was the same as where we had just been. The abandoned equipment was covered in dust, and the walls and ceiling were cracked. We had to constantly watch our step to avoid trash. Suddenly the general gave a sign and we stopped. Nia, if you hear anything you don't like, let me know right away. The angel nodded and hid her wings just in case. Nick will recognize her in any form. It should work to fool the other cultists. They don't know Nia and will just think she's a normal human. At least she can handle regular bullets. I hope they don't have the same stone as the people on the platform did. The squad moved forward cautiously, examining a few offices before approaching the stairwells leading to the upper floors. What the fuck? The squad moved forward cautiously, examining a few offices before approaching the stairwell leading to the upper floors. We walked quietly and kept looking back. Jan, the general, and Ania looked the calmest of all, of course. They didn't seem any more attentive than usual. Greg carefully opened another door we came across, and then just as quickly closed it. Turning toward us, he mouthed, "Affected. Bitch." The squad froze. "How many?" Oh God. Without letting go of the door handle, Greg raised 2 fingers. The general motioned for the others to stay put. Then he nodded to Greg, who kicked the door. Dimitri darted inside, holding his weapon out in front of him. Holding still, we waited for shots to ring out, but here were none. Greg opened the door wider, and we saw 2 infected stuck together, apparently killed a long time ago. They were lying on the floor, almost hugging each other. Black veins covered their bodies, and the floor connecting them into one whole. "They're dried up. I think they've been lying here for a long time. Let's leave them like this and not touch them." We closed the door and went on. Shortly after, a staircase appeared, which we used to go to the 2nd floor. It was quiet there as it was downstairs. There are only 2 floors here and 1 underground. If the cold isn't here, then where are they? "Are you sure there's anyone left in the building? It seems there haven't been any people here for a long time." "Considering the altar downstairs, that's hard to believe." "They might have even come up here. They went down to the bunker, tried to open the door, failed, and left everything as it was." Me. "Good. Are you unhappy about something again?" "I have a lot to say to you." Noah and Lester rolled their eyes at the same time. 2 little bitches. Just then Ania tensed up and looked at us with concern. "What's the matter, honey?" "Did you hear the footsteps?" "What footsteps?" The squad looked at each other in confusion. "Is that a question, or are you sure you heard something?" "Not quite. No one Lester's voices drowned out the sound, and I couldn't tell." Anna frowned, looking toward the soldiers, who had deliberately moved a decent distance away from each other. She said, "Enough. Focus already." "How do we get to the warehouse?" "After the corridor with the labs, there is a control room. We could access it from there. Actually, there was a shorter way, but it was blocked." Portia pointed to the destroyed passage behind us. "Should we go through each door or open them all at once?" "I don't think we should waste time. Let's each pick one of the labs and examine them on count of 3. Right, so the people who don't actually have weapons can get killed faster. I do love your style. I feel the need to shit on everyone. The squad took up their positions, looking at the battered walls, realizing that anything could be waiting for us behind them. I swallowed. The unknown silence was frightening. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. On command, we pushed the doors open and immediately hid, bracing for oncoming kill shots. The corridor was filled with the deafening creak of door hinges, which soon died down. I looked into an office. It was empty inside. There is no one here. Same here. The rest of the squad shouted the same thing. Search everything. Maybe there'll be something we can use. Entering the dusty room, I took off my heavy backpack and stretched my tired shoulders. Didn't CAIN have that? I checked the drawers and desks, but didn't find anything useful. I think a lot of people have been through here before us. Approaching a metal cabinet, I froze. It's big enough for an adult to fit inside. What are you waiting for? Girl, why do you always need to provoke the bear? Why? Why can't you just enjoy silence? This is just like a zombie literally walking nearby. They are living their sad lives in afterlife and not paying attention to us, only drowning in sorrows. And we feel the need to actually let everyone know that we're there. Why you gotta be like that? She peered in the hallway, looking at me. She raised an eyebrow questioningly. I found a tiny utility room. It was completely empty, so I decided to go help someone else. With Kira's appearance, my anxiety died down a little. Take the closet. Nah, that would make too much noise. Open the door slowly. Ask Kira to open the door. She is food. At this point, open them quickly. Like, if we actually open it slowly. I yanked on the handle, opening the closet abruptly. Did you want to catch a cultist off guard? I shrugged. You never know. There are some boxes here. Let's take a look. After taking them out, I opened the lids and began sorting through the things inside. Kira stood next to me, leaning against the closet door with her arms crossed. She was lost in thought as she watched me. What the fuck is wrong with her? You're kind of quiet. Is something wrong? Y'all, they are actually making me feel so much frustration. This story actually gives off the feeling that it's okay not to apologize when you fuck someone up. If you want to tell me, listen to me, I will be fine with that. Talk to me. Give all your burdens up to me. Like, it's not that I actually have a backbone. Kira looked at me in surprise, realizing that I was completely serious. She lowered her gaze and said quietly, I want to try to change something about myself. Oh, really? I want to stop endlessly chasing someone else's shadow. Are you talking about the general? Not exactly, it's about my father. And those who I see as similar to him. I see. No, we would know. Parental love passed Kira by, and now she wants to earn it from others. Beyond the room, we heard the occasional footsteps and hushed voices of the squad as they searched the other labs and offices. You know, when I was getting ready to leave the barracks, I got the butterfly tattoo. I'd hoped it would be my first step to freedom. It is free to fly whenever it wants, so light. But in reality, I just exchanged one set of handcuffs for another, and I can imagine my life without the squad. What are you getting at? There, on the platform, I thought about what would have happened if we hadn't managed to get out. Was I happy with the life I had lived? I never knew what I wanted. I pretended to be a butterfly, but I didn't become one. This is the more denial, sweetheart. But I would understand what she meant with the parental love, as in exchanging one handcuff for another. This is a metaphor actually saying that when you realize that a situation is not good for you, you're trying to get out of it in order to change up your life, hoping that it would become rather better than worse. And if you exchange one situation for another, in her case now, actually exchanging her parental love for the love that she is thriving for in Anna and the general, then you are fucked up. Because you didn't really escape your past, you didn't actually manage to heal and then seek better or more important topics. You are still there, still praising someone else's love, not finding yourself. So I promised to myself that if we got out, I would try to make myself happy, to think for myself, to stop worrying about others. Is she really giving up, letting the general go? Why are you telling me this? It's not that embarrassing to tell it to you. I'd never admit this to Anna, and Nia wouldn't get it. I pulled out the last item and looked at Kira. I see. I think I understand what you mean. I hope you will be able to feel the freedom you're talking about. Kira trusts you and your relationship with the Scott became a little stronger. This is fucking ridiculous, but whatever you say. Again, the story tries to teach you that apologizing when you fucked up is not something you should do. Kira nodded and glanced at the things I had laid out in front of me. Glass again. And are there any weapons or flashlights? I shook my head. I don't want to go back to the bunker in my nice clothes. I'll change into these ones I found and put the clean ones in my backpack. Well, you got the door. I'll change. Go ahead, but be quick. We said we're gonna change. This is so fucking funny. Basic set. Honestly, I would wear this. Not my style. I could work with this. Of course, the leather jacket, you all know how I feel about the... Ooh, light wear. Again, you know how I feel about this. But in my eyes, you shouldn't actually put so much interest in it. I don't know. Let's go with for a look. Who cares? I just saw people running in the background. Y'all, what kind of hair? Did we actually see this hair? Give me a second. I can't change? Alright, continue. Once I finished changing, I put my clothes in my backpack. I can barely fasten it. I pressed my knee on top of it, clicked the clasp, and we left the room. Anything useful? I shook my head. We only have to check the control room in the warehouse. Let's go. We moved forward slowly and found that the entrance to the room we needed was blocked. There's no way to get to it from here. So, is this a dead end? We can get there by crawling through the window. The ledges outside are wide. It should work. Maybe I'll just fly in. Aren't you afraid of getting shot? Don't show yourself. It's too dangerous. She opened her mouth to object, but fell silent and looked away. Did she really think the squad was happy to always use her as cannon fodder? Yes. Girl, do you not see how Dimitri is behaving? Of course. I would believe the same thing. The general and Kira checked the ledges, then walked along them to the neighboring window. We heard the sound of glass breaking, followed by footsteps walking through the room behind the rubble. Can you hear me? If we all get here, we'll clear the passage in about 15 minutes. Just leave the backpacks with someone. Don't leave them unattended. We can't lose all our supplies again. Greg stayed with our things. Portia gave him her pistol so he could defend himself if necessary. After the others crawled along the ledge into the other room, it was my turn. I took off my backpack, put it against the wall, and was about to leave when Greg suddenly hugged me tenderly from behind, pressing me to him. What's going on? Oh, Greg. Y'all. Oh, Greg. Oh, god damn. Honestly, CAIN just needs to put a ring on it. As long as you haven't claimed me, you don't own me. Stay with me. They can handle it themselves. Suddenly deciding to be alone with Greg won't go unnoticed. I thought about it. Do we actually want to, though? We're gonna stay. I want to stay with Greg. Bye-bye, bitches. Hey, y'all. I said it so many times. If CAIN actually wants me, he needs to put in a little bit of effort. Greg sat down on a creaky chair and patted his knee, beckoning to me. I settled in his lap and looked at him. Closing his eyes, he buried his forehead in my shoulder. Then he hugged me tighter, pulling me closer. Why is there always so little good? What are you talking about? Nothing. He knows there's competition. Greg turned his head and his earring gleamily What? And his earring gleamed alluringly. I'd like to take you to a movie or museum, treat you to dinner, have a drink. This man actually making plans for the future? Y'all, I actually feel bad. I have the feeling I tapped into some dangerous territories. Clean the apartment all day and then invite you over and worry you won't like it. I touched the earring and stroked his ear with my finger. As soon as he felt my touch, Greg's embrace tightened. No one knows what it would have been like if the cataclysm and everything that came after hadn't happened. But most likely we simply wouldn't have met. You know, you say it so easily, it makes my heart ache. Bye, this man, he actually a wimp, he a simp. I tried not to show it, but as soon as Greg started talking about us as if we were a couple, my stomach twisted with nerves. I wanted to push him away and get out of his embrace and pretend that we didn't know each other. I wanted to return everything to when we were still nothing to one another and I was still able to choose. But I resisted this urge. Such behavior would be strange. After all, on the ship, it was my lips that responded to his kiss. Greg, who I had previously been attracted to, now put me at a loss. I felt cornered, and he was no longer such a desirable target. Everything about him instantly appeared in a different light to me. He was ordinary, perhaps intrusive at times, and unable to help himself. I was left to watch in horror as all of his positive traits distorted in my head and became drawbacks. I could only vaguely understand what was happening to me. I'm so scared to trust someone that my mind is trying to convince me Greg isn't worth it. I have the feeling it's also because I played, because let's be real here, I be playing a lot, folks. The scariest thing was that suddenly I didn't even know if I wanted to sit there with him. It's hard to be around such a good guy when you don't fully understand your feelings, but you're willing to try. We're always willing to try, of course, but I don't want to risk too much, y'all. Swallowing, I decided not to make any hasty decisions. I snuggled closer. You like to keep quiet, huh? I can feel your mood's changed, but you decided to pretend that everything is fine. Do you want to tell me what's wrong? As soon as he said it, I felt a little better, as if the burden of pretense had been lifted from me. Grasping at the feeling, I looked at Greg again. His gaze was piercing, and I saw trust and understanding in his eyes. Later, it doesn't matter now. Anxious, I touched his earring again and started playing with it. Just then I felt Greg's hand press against my stomach, and his palm began slowly caressing my waist, moving down to my hips. I want to see what would happen if I teased him. I'm petrified. I hope this doesn't mean we're official, but for the Greg fans out there, I bowed my head and clamped the ring in my teeth, gently pulling on it. My hot breath scorched his neck, and he still not daring to move. Emboldened, I moved closer and bit his skin. The metal clanged in my teeth. Greg held me tighter. I liked that feeling, that fleeting feeling of control over a man. Me. But what did I say, y'all? That's the turn on I keep on talking about. We love to know when we have control over someone. I wanted to understand how he saw me. I whispered in his ear, "Why do you like me?" Feeling our closeness, Greg swallowed loudly. He wanted to say something, but I continued to play with his earring. Running my cold fingers over his soft skin, I gently kissed his neck. Greg stiffened and his breathing became heavy. I could have stopped and listened to his answer, but for some reason I kept getting in his way. Apparently I wanted to awaken his instincts, to make it so he overcame his shyness. I wanted him, in a fit of desire, to tell me about his feelings, to say how much he liked me. Or was I just afraid to hear his real answer? But Greg found the strength to resist his mounting pleasure. Taking me by the shoulders, he pulled back. Just don't laugh. He hesitated. It's as if you're from another world. There's this one, the one that lies on the surface. I walk freely through it. I know it. It's close to me. And there's another one, a spiritual world. It surrounds us, but seems invisible to some. For example, for me, I'm strongly attached to everything earthly and material. And for you, it's so ephemeral. It's hard for me to catch it, but next to you, I feel like I'm becoming a part of it. Oh, that's dangerous then. That's extremely dangerous then. We give him the feeling that he can achieve anything as long as he has us by his side. We give him the wings to fly, sort of, with his emotional attachment. It calls to me like a fantasy that complements reality, makes it less boring. My lips felt dry as I realized Greg was voicing my own thoughts. It was everything I thought about when he squeezed me tightly during a kiss. I wanted to have his will to live, but I never thought I could offer him anything in return. I know what you mean. Greg suddenly turned in his chair and my back was jammed against the desk. Is that even possible in your world? He smiled charmingly and kissed me while slowly pressing me back, so I was almost lying flat on the desktop. No one will kiss you like that there. I disagree. CAIN. His hot lips ran down my neck. He was right. Greg was attractive. That was hard to deny. His freedom, his inability to give up, and his openness won me over. I was attracted to everything in him that was inaccessible to me. I liked that he was reaching out to me. I liked being desired. Yes, exactly. It might have been hard to determine Greg's true feelings for me, but I knew well what it felt like to desire something. It was a language I understood. Closing my eyes, I responded to his kiss. Our tongues intertwined, then caressed each other and connected again. With each new movement, Greg pressed me closer to him. Sorry, it's hard for me to stop, especially knowing how similar we feel about it. Throwing my head back on the desk to catch my breath, I rested my hand on Greg's chest, waiting to keep my distance. But as soon as I felt his chiseled muscles, a nagging feeling flared up in my lower abdomen, forcing everything around me to recede into the background. Greg understood what I felt and smiled. I pulled my hand back and accidentally caught the pendant that always hung around his neck. Sorry. It's okay. It's strong. My sister said it was some kind of unbreakable alloy. This chain was her last gift. With the sudden mention of Greg's sister, everything inside me froze and tumbled away. All right. From Emma. If I don't tell him now, Greg will probably find out later somehow. But if he finds out I've been keeping his quiet, he'll be disappointed. I can't let that happen. I'd better tell him now. I have something I want to tell you. When the General and I were looking for a way out of the flooded base, your sister, more precisely her papers, well, I think they were hers, although I can't be sure. Greg looked at me in confusion. I tried to gather my thoughts and say what had sounded so simple in my head but was so hard to speak. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Just as the thought finally formed, the concrete rubble that blocked the passage to the main room began shifting and falling to the floor. Sounds like the orders are finished. Standing, I got up from Greg's lap and pulled my top down. Greg noticed and playfully kissed me on the top of my head. This man, Greg, would like the squad to stay away for a few hours and not bother you. You're welcome, by the way. Finally, the doorway leading to the main room was open. Lost in my thoughts to the point of forgetting about the book, I followed the rest of the squad to the main room. Once inside, we hung several neon sticks on the wall. Do you want to stay here? The warehouse is very close. This place is full of documents and well-preserved equipment. We can't abandon the treasures. The dark room with rows of old computers and spotty greenish lighting made the atmosphere morbidly oppressive. Well, to step into the darkness, it seemed one would instantly disappear and never return. Taking out my chem light, I bent it and walked around the room. Plain masked postcards and punch cups lay on the tables and chairs. The floor shimmered with glitter with confetti poppers. I ran my foot along the ground and shiny streaks rose up. It seems like the staff was celebrating something on the last day of the search center's operation. Some hard workers, all they have here are empty bottles. It's amazing that this room is so well preserved. It seems like we're the first to reach it. Lester unscrewed the cap of a glass bottle and drank it in one gulp. Suppose, but it's invigorating, this man. Anna and Kira were looking through the cabinet and rustled some packaging. In addition to toilet rolls, stationery, printer ink, and other office supplies, they found something valuable. They dragged a box so heavy that it was impossible to lift off the floor to the center of the room. I desperately desired to have CAIN here. That's not too much to ask for, is it? It's filled to the brim with packages of food. Do you think of it is still edible? Everyone approached the box except Noah. The mathematician sat under one of the desks and enthusiastically examined the computer system. It's edible. She took one of the packages and pressed it to her chest before heading toward an old sofa. Without turning to us, she said quietly, "The products from my husband's company. We had a line designed for long-term storage. They may not taste good, but they're very nutritious. Production was expensive, so we only supplied them to the government agencies and organizations sponsored by the order. I haven't seen anything that reminded me of him for a long time. I want to be alone for a while. You eat?" Portia sat down on the sofa and tucked her legs up, still holding the package to her chest.
We don't have much time to stop, but since the room is deserted, we'll rest a little. Ania, have you heard anything from CAIN?
The one time I'm actually proud, the one time I'm happy that this man says something. No, I haven't. I think he's fine. I don't believe it. I want to see him. That's when I know for sure. The general nodded.
Either now we'll head to the warehouse.
We looked inside the box. Colorful packages of various snacks awaited us. The most colorful packaging belonged to the bars labeled as ultra-nutritious. What a mouthful. Opening the package, I took out a strange-smelling block. I bit into it, grimacing at the sour taste. It's like dried meat. Everything is as boring as before. They should have come up with more interesting next. Taking the package with me, I sat down at one of the desks, which, like the others, had a small privacy portion. My gaze fell to the yellow paper squares posted around a cracked monitor. Chewing without much appetite, I began to read each out of boredom. Pick up Leslie from kindergarten, make a doctor's appointment, my back hurts again, clean out the attics, put the skates up for sale. People used to do such mundane and pleasantly routine things. True, at the time, it hardly seemed that way to them. You only start to appreciate everything once you've lost it. Yep. Only know you love her when you let her go. Then among the notes, I saw one with numbers on it that were circled several times in red marker. Below them, it said, or new code. Maybe this is something important, then I should write it down. Or is it better to just remember it? If my notebook is stolen, they will get the code too. On the other hand, if I don't write it down, I might forget the numbers. Write them down. I don't give a fuck. We need to do what we have to in order to survive. Taking out a pen, I wrote down the code. We need to make sure. I know it may be stupid, but it depends. Under pressure, it could be possible that we actually forget. I finished my candy bar and stood up to rejoin the others when I heard whispering.
Don't think that I just took you back. What are you trying to achieve?
Jan, I was wondering what our valiant got brought back from their vacation. And what difference does it make what our past is if everyone's future is equally lousy? The general and Jan, apparently unaware that I was also part of the room, continued their conversation. If I walk out right now, they'll know I heard them. I don't want to be under the close supervision of the entire squad again. Their attitude toward me has finally normalized. This is the calm before the storm. We will never ever be family, and we will never be capable to get along with these manipulative little bitches. This is the calm before the storm. We're trying not to be that much in their business, as in the second that they talk, we have the feeling that we need to go away, because if they see us, they think that we're snooping, and then again they will be judging us or making us feel responsible for awful things happening to us. They will always come back to us because they don't like us. They hate us. If something bad happens, they will always go back to us. I sat down quietly.
We'll go back to Oxford and then what? You've been hiding all this time. Why did you decide to show up now? Have you decided to take revenge? Revenge doesn't resurrect, and if you haven't forgotten, General, you were once my friend. Is my presence in the squad so unbearable to you? I don't blame you for anything. But I do, every time I see your face. The heck? I want to help with the book. You can trust me. There was silence, and then one of them left. The second one, after standing in silence for a while, also returned to the others. And what does all that mean? That means they can't stand each other. I finally managed to leave my hiding place. Rejoining the others, I noticed that almost the entire squad was sitting near Greg and Noah. They were both looking for something by the computers, while the others were listening to them and watching what was happening. Only Jan and Portia were wandering around. Both were in different corners, both lost in their own thoughts. Portia was collecting snack packages, and Jan was looking at the remnants of the party. I noticed a white mask next to me. The image of the demon hunter immediately popped into my head. Is it you that Jan is looking for? Now is the moment to test my suspicions. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I should take the mask and approach Jan. Take the mask and approach Jan in a friendly manner. Honestly, just approach the man. I hate the fake happy bullshit. Just be upfront with me.
Picking up the mask, I took my makeup bag out of my backpack. I drew a sad hunter face on it with the black eyeliner and pulled it on. Damn. She said we're going with Squid Game. After looking around, I went up to Jan. He was standing with the back to me in one of the unlit corners of the room. Standing behind him, I waited for Jan to turn around. Ilona, I heard your footsteps. What's up? Unsuspectingly, Jan continued rummaging through the shelves. I had to pat him on the shoulder to get his attention. Finally, he turned around. As soon as he saw my mask, several emotions altered on his face at once. Mm-hmm. Ooh! Ooh! Honestly, slay. The picture is amazing. And they actually look cute together, goddamn. Looking over my head at the squad and making sure we weren't being watched, Jan swapped our positions and then took a step forward, forcing my retreat toward the cabinets. Oh, he said you caught me. He towered over me with his body, blocked the light, and forced me into the corner so I couldn't be seen behind him. Carefully hooking his fingers under the mask, Jan slowly lifted it. His hand lingered near my face. Greenish highlights from the light sticks flickered in his eyes. For some reason, he was in a hurry to speak. It seemed the situation amused him, of course. Why wouldn't it? He got the power. What does this mean? I just decided to help you. You lost yours after all. He looked at me inquiringly for a while. Then he bent down and pulled the elastic from the back of my head, taking the mask. Thank you. You didn't make any excuses. How long have you known? He is the masked man. Wow. I didn't. I doubted it until the very end. What did you kiss? Jan ran his fingers along the inside of the mask, outlining the place where my lips had just been. Damn. Noah said he hit his hip when you were moving something together. It seemed strange to me that such a cautious person like him would suddenly hurt himself, and in the same place where the hunter was injured. You didn't even try. And your fall into the water seemed strange to me. Kira said that the torn wings of the abomination were lying on the platform and that hunter flew into the water. The wings of the abomination there, but the body gone? Strange. But everything falls into place if you consider that the hunter wanted to divert suspicion from himself and hid on the platform, ripping the wings off the abomination and throwing it overboard wrapped in his cloak. Then the others would have looked for him among those who returned wed. You protected yourself. It was just precaution. I realized that I acted too openly. If I had been afraid to reveal myself to you, I would have acted differently. We were silent. Raising my head, I looked at Jan. Interest was visible in his eyes. So you have been with us for a long time, and when the abomination circled above me, you were there and helped. I didn't imagine it. Yes, I noticed that you had begun falling into the haze. I'm not sure what motivated me at that moment, but I decided to show myself to you. Oh, did I scare you? No, more like intrigued me. He never scared me. Honestly, I was kind of curious about this man's motives, because you can only have negative feelings towards someone if they do something in order to actually make you feel afraid. And even though he was capable to take care of the abomination and that could actually inspire fear, he helped us. He wanted to protect us and keep us safe. That's no reason for me to feel awkward or afraid of him. Jan smiled faintly. And those people the cult killed, did you really go with them? No, I got there after the others. I couldn't save anyone. I see. I think the journal knows too. If you were dangerous, he wouldn't have allowed you to be so close to the squad. I've no doubt. Where are you hiding?
I don't want to be found. People have begun praising the idea of the hunter, hoping for him as if he were a national hero. That's why I started going out of town more often to hunt there. Right after that, there were some provocative fools who started convincing others that I was just a looter doing it all for profit.
And what are you really doing this for?
You guessed who was under the mask. Maybe you'll figure it out yourself.
He wants to help people. I mean, we all know, at least in this story, that the world is completely doomed. There are barely any humans left. So he wants to make sure that he can actually contribute to saving as many people as possible. He smiled. After hiding the mask in his backpack near the other things, Jan walked towards the squad who were readying to leave for the warehouse. None of them noticed our short conversation, and Portia was still looking nostalgically at the ration standing with her back to us. Coming out of the darkness, I went toward Craig. As I thought, tracking Semika's activity can shed light on the origin and nature of the faults. If you compare that data left there, you can see how much the underground vibration in all regions escalated immediately after the first vault opened. It's also strange that one of these points is located very close to us. It's within a mile of the research center, but there is no fault nearby.
And what does that mean?
That it could open. I think the vibration didn't grow stronger just in Oxford. They are intensifying all over the world, as if they are preparing for something. And before, if there wasn't enough power to open a fault here now, that could change.
Without weapons and traps, we cannot withstand a swarm of abominations. We need to get out of here before that happens.
If it happens. This is just a theory, right?
No, this is not a theory. Greg looked at the folders he had pulled out, absently flipping a page. He said quietly,
I hope so.
I don't have that much faith. Noah crawled out from under the desk. He miscalculated and hit his head hard.
Nothing useful, just office trash. I'm disappointed.
Okay, we looked at everything here. Let's not linger and go down to CAIN.
Finally, my man.
If the entrance to the warehouse was blocked on both sides, then there can't be any cultists here, right? Oh, we've looked at everything besides it.
It seemed so, but we shouldn't jump to conclusions and let our guard down. Danger always comes when you least expect it.
I agree with that. We heard a heavy sigh behind us.
That's right.
Having put away the scattered food packages, Portia threw her backpack over her shoulder and adjusted the straps.
If you're ready, let's move. But first we'll have to open the steel doors.
She pointed to the cabinets. We pushed aside furniture that was blocking the way to them.
We need something thin that won't break. Maybe someone has a disk or a nail file was left on the desk. Will this do?
Jan took a metal card out of his pocket, the one he used to free the stems of the camellia. As soon as Portia saw it, she paused in bewilderment. Fear paused on her face, and surprise and then restrained interest. Without answering, she took the card in her hands and examined it.
It doesn't have your name on it. Where did you get it from? Did you take it from that house?
Yes. But Jan had it before a skirmish. Although he was the one who gave me the tip about the house, he could have known about her for a long time. But who would carry someone else's credit card around for no reason? I think... Yep. Jan was connected to the house's owner. Or maybe he is the owner. That would explain his connection to the pastor. They've definitely known each other for a long time.
Is something wrong?
No, everything's fine. I just saw a familiar name. My husband had the same card, and this one belonged to the owner of the house, the one where you got the photo and the letter. But all that, it's past now.
She tucked the card under the joint between the card reader and the frame of the steel door. There was a click and the device opened. In the recess that appeared, Portia removed one of the hooks and then easily pushed the iron doors aside, opening the passage to the warehouse. The metal creak echoed throughout the space, dying out somewhere in the depths of the huge room.
The squad went into the darkness. Lester lit the way with a couple of light sticks he'd grabbed from the room. It was so quiet we heard each other's breathing. The dumbway is at the very end. If we go straight, we will get there in a few minutes. I turned around looking at the steel doors. With each step they faded into the distance and the surrounding darkness grew thicker. It seems quiet here, no tracks, nothing AQ. What was stored here anyway? I don't know, devices? Substances for analysis? What else do they throw in a warehouse? It's hard to understand what you know about your husband and what you don't. Sometimes you open doors in some tricky way, sometimes you don't even know obvious things. That's right, if you live with a person who hides things, you'll stop being surprised by such matters. Something flashed ahead. The object looked like a metal handle. I think we've reached the elevator. It took me a moment to realize it had become too quiet around here. I turned to the others and saw horror frozen in their eyes. Oh God. Each of them continued walking forward, but their lips were trembling and their eyes stared straight ahead as if something was keeping them in check.
Don't turn around. Walk forward as if I'm not saying anything important. Someone will have to go down, but only the women will fit in the dumbwaiter. I'll throw them the gun, and no matter what happens, we're not deviating from the plan.
Dimitri looked at me then, and I realized his words were primarily intended for me. What? I'm supposed to go down there?
Simona!
What? Everything happened very quickly. Oh, we are the ones that are about to deal with an abomination, maybe? As soon as the doors closed, people fell on the squad from all sides. Dimitri threw a gun at me, but I didn't have time to catch it. It slid across the floor and disappeared into the darkness, while then zoomed after it. I didn't realize what was happening, and I couldn't gather myself. I couldn't distinguish between up and down, where my people were, or who was still alive from the squad, so I ducked down and listened to the sound. They've cornered us in a room with no escape. Like this, it would be super easy to kill the squad. Just then someone rushed past and put a gun in my hands. I recognized Kira's outline. She looked into the darkness trying to spot Dimitri, preparing to go to his aid, but abruptly stopped. I knew how much she wanted to rush to the general and make sure he was alive, but instead Kira took my hand and ran forward. Opening the little elevator door, she forced me to climb inside. The heck is going on here? You have to open the passage and save yourself. If things get really bad, take the book and fly away with CAIN. I would love to. No problem with that, but you see Greg is there, Jan is there. Like, I need to save my bitches. And the rest, me.
We can handle it. Come on, tuck your legs in. I still need to get you down.
Tuck your legs in? What am I supposed to do? There's no time to waste. I hated the idea that I was the one who needed to be saved and out of the entire squad, but I couldn't argue with the fact that it was logical. Tucking my legs in, I suddenly heard Anna's voice. Out of breath, she ran up to us.
There might be an ambush down there. You two should go together. I'll stay here and get you down. Then you go and I'll go back to the others. You're smaller than me. Hurry.
Without arguing, Kira climbed up with me and somehow shut the doors behind us. There was a click and I began to turn the handle on the other side and we went down. CAIN, baby! As soon as the elevator hit the bottom of the shaft, Kira opened the doors a little.
No one seems to be here. Let's go.
After she helped me climb out, we checked our weapons and slowly walked out of the dark passage into the hall. CAIN was standing on the other side of the bars. Bye.
Finally, what are those sounds? What's going on? The cultists attacked the squad in the warehouse. Everyone is locked in there. They need help. First, let's free you from here.
As soon as he touched the gate, wanting to tear it apart, an energy similar to an electric discharge passed through the rusty iron. Oh no, my babe! Oh no! CAIN looked at the source of what had stopped him. He said, no, you are not doing that. Bye. And not the cultists having electric powers like Thunder Girl. A silhouette in a cloak stood in the shadows. He placed his palm on the gate, sending a force through it that strengthened the metal. An immortal who hid his wings? Now the squad has no advantage over the cold. Without giving CAIN time to come to his senses, the immortal attacked him, forcing him to fight. He distracted CAIN from us, not letting him get close to the gate.
Portia said there should be a lever somewhere around here to lift it. I'll take the book and look at the walls. You check the passages.
I nodded, getting ready to run, when I noticed an industrial shredder flying out of the shadows. It was heading straight at Kira, who was bending over to pick up the book. Hell no! Be careful! She didn't have time to react. The machine knocked her off her feet, pushing her toward the hatch. Kira lost consciousness and went limp. Nick appeared out of passages from where the machine had flown out. This man, I'm sorry, can I smack the shit out of him? I want to smack the living daylights out of him. The fuck? This book is not yours. And why the fuck would you need it? I hurried to the book, but he was faster. He picked it up and shook his head.
Losing it unpleasant, isn't it, Simona?
Oh my god, he actually is psycho. I did tell you the cultists are psychos. They are menaces. Nick spoke in a muffled voice, not quite like himself. It seemed that he wasn't himself. Nah, he demented. What happened to you?
You better worry about yourself.
Again, smacked the living daylights out of him. Kira came to her senses and was touching her bloody temple. Ooh,
bastard.
I'm glad I'm not alone. I only care about myself. It's good she's regained consciousness. It would have been harder to act alone. We should have the advantage now. Ignoring Kira, Nick continued.
I don't really need the book. It was useless for the cult. It's obvious that only you can handle it, but we can't take you. With slightly different plans. However, if you reveal its secret, it would still play into our hands, so I'll let you have it. But giving it away would be too easy, don't you think?
My goodness gracious, again. We have a fucking gun. Use it. Nick pulled the lever on the shredder and the motor inside growled unpleasantly. He's gonna oh my god. He's gonna put it in there. He's gonna shredder it. He shook his hand and grimaced.
This gasoline stinks so bad. It's just awful.
I couldn't turn around, but I heard CAIN and the immortal grappling in battle. He won't use his ability here like in Rotkov. There's too much chance of damaging the door and hurting Kira and me. Besides, Anya alone can't stop him. The rusty blades inside the shredder began to spin, the nasty screeching sound like crying from which there was nowhere to hide. Nick placed the book in a vase above the crushing rollers and held on to it, preventing the machine from chewing up the pages. With his other hand, he picked up the gun Kira had dropped.
So, Simona, trick question. The misfortune of one for the sake of saving the rest, or the misfortune of all for the sake of saving one? Which will you choose?
Bye. He aimed at the hatch under Kira and fired. The lock came off and the old fastening cracked, breaking under Kira's weight. At the moment, Nick let go of the book and it flew into the shredder. The book, Kira? The book, Kira? So we either push Kira out or we lose the book for good. I'm sorry, we need to take the book. No disagreements, y'all. Like, again, yes, I hate Kira, but again, I said it so many times, I do not condone murder, nor do I actually condone to having people die, but this book can actually save humanity, and sadly, one life is nothing. There was no time to think. I rushed to the shredder and grabbed the book's spine with both hands, stopping it an inch away from the rotating cutters. Then I heard Kira crying nearby. At the last second, she had caught the edge of the pit and was holding on with all her might. Oh my god, not the tears.
Simona, help me. I can feel my feet slipping down the side.
But what are we supposed to do? We can only, I don't know, push her away or something.
Simona.
Tearing off her nails, she tried to crawl out, but was slowly sliding lower and lower.
Kira, you've always been tensions. You love to mess with everyone. Even now you've ruined my entire plan.
Why? Why are you doing this to us? I won't be able to save Kira if I hold the book, and the immortal won't let CAIN near us. I can try to distract Nick by talking to him and wait until CAIN finishes the fight. By the time she will be dead, I think. But I don't know how long their fight will take, and there's nothing stopping Nick from shooting Kira with the pistol. I need to act now. Continuing to ponder the situation, I try to get Nick to talk. If you're returning the book, why did you even have to take it? Nick looked at me with boredom, then at Kira. He exhaled and turned away from her. You don't have much time to chat. Is that all you have to say? If the call is so useless, maybe you should just return to the squad. You're right, we're going in blind. We've only been left with crumbs and knowledge by those who tasted the darkness before us.
He is mental, y'all. His face, I can't even look at the face.
The other wrote down some of their knowledge, and then the merchant Romanov added his own guesses, and Boris multiplied them. Our history was written by more than one person, and each acted separately from the others, bringing something of their own, trying to find the essence. And here is the result.
Nick pointed to the gutted corpse hanging above the altar. For the cold, all this is like a game. Kira groaned again and slid a little lower down the walls of the pit. I fell silent, trying to concentrate, then I exhaled. No one had ever told me that at that moment when fate is being decided, you don't have time to choose the best option. Perhaps such moments are called decisive precisely because of a person acts based on their true self. Having no time for assessment, they obey their instincts and make a decision based on their moral compass. Since I decided to go with the awful options, even though the squad would lose so much without a shooter like Kira, I was ready to sacrifice her, yeah. After all, each member of the squad knew that any moment they could lose their lives. However, at that moment, my contempt for the meaninglessness was stronger than my desire to quickly get the book. Then what is the value of life if it can be taken away so easily? I looked at my hands and then at the rusty blades that wouldn't stop spinning. If I put my hand in this meat grinder, it will chew up the bone and jam up, stopping for a while. The shredder is weak, so it should work. What? But I will have to twist my hand to tear it off, otherwise I will be stuck in after. What the fuck is she doing? For just a moment, a thought flashed through my mind that I hated with all my soul. Sorry. Kira's uselessness. Why the hell should I do this for her? Why should I suffer like this? We don't. If only she'd looked around better and taken her time. I pulled myself together, saving the rising disgust for Kira for later. When the shatter stops, I'll have time to pull Kira out without risking the book. She's risking her hand. Is she dumb? I swallowed and looked at my scar. Then I unclenched my fingers and lowered my hand into the shredder. Suddenly, a piece of rubber flew through the gate. It whistled past my face and went between the grinder, causing them to stop.
I was about to say, CAIN is here. He probably saw, or maybe he heard. He was like, bitch, the fuck you think you're doing? He literally said I throw something in between because I can trust your sorry ass to stay away. I looked through the bars dumbfounded. CAIN was looking at me angrily. He mad. I feel like actually seeing what we were about to do actually made him more mad than anything else. Because again, they did nothing but actually mentally torment us. And we, at the first chance we get, apparently we feel the need to play hero. I can't with her. CAIN was looking at me angrily. His eyes were burning with fire. I thought I could hear his teeth grinding. He's so fucking upset. Oh my god. Yes, because technically we would have to suffer and he would have to actually see this through when he doesn't even think that the squad deserves it. The other immortal, looking pretty battered and exhausted, flew up to him again. Still, he no longer spent any energy trying to hide his wings. This man! Just leave! CAIN grabbed the immortal's face with his hand and squeezed roughly. Crazed, he looked at me furiously while someone else's skull broke under his grip. Y'all, seeing us in danger, seeing what we were about to do, that we were actually technically willing to risk our lives in order to protect the book, made him so upset that he himself decided to actually turn into the worst version of himself. I did the analysis and said that he did not like that the general forced him to massacre all those people, and when he is in that murder spree, he can't control himself and he can't get out of it. And we didn't want to actually risk CAIN going through this, so we decided maybe we can risk our hand. But CAIN was smarter, and he chose himself, even though he hates it and is tormented by that darkness inside of him. When he suddenly has those red eyes, he chose to actually sacrifice his sanity in order to protect us. Wow, he'd fought the immortal almost on equal terms before, but at that moment CAIN overpowered him completely with his energy, not letting him move. For a second I thought he had lost control of himself, but his gaze told me he was still present. Yeah, he is present. We're his anchor, again. He decided to overlook his morals and whatever in order to protect us. Without wasting time, I let go of the book and rushed to Kira. My goodness gracious. I just saw this. I reached out my hand to her and she grabbed for it, pushing off with the last of her strength, and she darted forward. Her fingers almost touched. Where's she gone? Yeah, because Nick is there. That little motherfucking bitch. Look at this. The thunk that marked Kira's death was quiet. The sound of the shredder starting up again drowned it out. Wow. We still lost the book. Such a silent, senseless death. I kicked Nick so hard that he flew into the lever turning off the machine. Then I stood up and slowly approached the pit. I kicked some pebbles lying nearby into it with my boot and paused, counting the seconds until they landed. They took a long time to fall. It's too high. She doesn't stand a chance. These pits were dug for a waste. Even if she survived the fall, she would have crashed into a bunch of trash. Nick stood up and walked over to the lever. I began to realize my mind wasn't processing what was happening. It seemed to me that Kira was standing right next to me. What's wrong with you, Simona? And then she disappeared again. That wasn't fair, Simona. The casual way Nook spoke caused a fit of rage in me. My hands began to tremble from the uncontrollable force slowly filling my body. Can someone do something against this motherfucking bitch? I do not give a damn. I'm sorry, Greg. I know you care about him like he was your brother, but he needs to go. My thoughts weren't preventing me from concentrating. You made me feel helpless again, unable to decide anything in my life. You perceive your own cruelty as justice, but you cannot accept someone else's. You have been playing with us all this time. And are you ready to lay down your life for your cause? Trying to restrain myself with all my might, I raised my head and looked at Nick with hatred. Woohoo! CAIN, you be knowing what's up. He was surprised and stepped back. Nah, you're moving closer. You wanted to be so close to me. You had the audacity to actually touch me without my consent. Now, by all means, sir, move closer. I'll show you. He was surprised and stepped back, removing his hand from the lever. What's wrong with you? You didn't warn me about this. Oh no! Now you're surprised. Again, underestimate me, bitches. I'm happy to show you wrong. I'll kill him. Kill him? Surprise, bitch, bet you thought you seen the last of me. As soon as I let out my anger, the room turned red. My consciousness was floating. It seemed like I was standing ankle deep in blood, in an incomprehensible...
Na, du hast Unterhosen an.
Ja, aber ich muss mich waschen.
I yanked to place, and then I returned to the bunker again. Nick froze, not daring to move. He better not move. Fear crossed in his face, then it twisted in confusion. Can we kill him? That got me. Wow. Oh, wow. We said we are in for blood, alright. Along with the shock came forgotten agony. We turned it off.
We said we grow numb in order not to care what we're gonna be doing. I remember I felt pain like this before, wild and heartbreaking. The whispers came from everywhere, drove me crazy until I accepted them. I gave in to them and let the madness take over. Technically, the devil's whisper is like the perfect rude, or more like choice, when you are on CAIN's lover path, because he has the same problem that he can't control the darkness inside of him. So now we have the same problem. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh god, y'all. We turned into a demon. We turned into, oh my goodness gracious. Y'all, I started something. I created a monster. Trying to get away, Nick put his hands up and began slowly backing away as if he was afraid I would attack him. Please attack him! A lot is happening right under your nose and you don't see it. You don't even have to dig deep. It's all on the surface. No. You suspect it, but you don't draw conclusions. Honestly, I could give more damn about what this man is telling us. We either have him explode or we push him down the same pebble that he pushed Kira into. He does not deserve to live after this. Because of earlier choices, Nick was able to give you a warning. Approached the shredder to pull out the book. I unclamped the vise without turning on the machine. Grasping the clamp with both hands, I managed to open it for a couple of seconds, enough for the book to fall out. Having freed it from the shredder, I threw it on the floor. Warning, the following scene contains graphics. Okay. My turn. Period. Oh, y'all, again, because this is the Devil's Whispers path, a little more brutal, I would assume, than the God way. Please, with the script, with calmness. I do not want any of you to have nightmares. I went closer and grabbed Nick by his hair, period. Slammed his head against the stone wall. He lost a row of teeth, and his mouth began to bleed. Then I lowered the lever of the shredder and started the engine. Oh my god. She said you shredded my book, I'll shredder you. Oh goodness gracious. Okay. Honestly, no, y'all. If I say I'm living for this moment, then I would actually be a psycho. Then I would actually be a brutal person. Like, him dying, yes, because he did the exact same thing, but torturing someone, as in physically and everything, I can't. Like, it's giving me nightmares. But since this is a game, I'm gonna be like, alright, make him torture him, make him feel bad, all you want. But in real life, please do not tap into that much negativity, into that much darkness, because that can quickly get out of hand. Take it from our character, take it from CAIN. If you use too much negativity in your life and don't balance it out with like positivity, you will overlook the positive emotions that you portray, and the darkness will have the capability to take over you. That you don't really have control over yourself. Holding him by the back of the head so that he couldn't break free, I directed Nick toward the bustling blades. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Period. This is what you did, babe? No, no, no. Pressing down, I stuck his head inside. Blood splattered, staining my face and clothes. The world turned red. I blinked, wiping the blood from my eyes. Nick kicked for a few more seconds, but I held him tightly, not releasing him until he went limp. We said we will shredder you. Goddamn. That's something I didn't expect to see. When he stopped moving, I let go of his neck. Nick's body felt like a heavy sag. Looking at him, I didn't feel regret. More precisely, I didn't feel anything at all. Y'all. Me saying in the first season, I want her to find herself. I want her to open up a little bit more to emotions. I turned her numb. more numb than she already was. Oh, God. Like, she was already struggling, but she was trying, at least, to feel something in the first season. But the more Devil's Whisper points you get, the more darkness, I would assume, you decide to take in. So, since I decided to always go with the negativity, with all love and concern, CAIN is more powerful than us, of course. We are more dangerous than CAIN. Why? Because you don't expect it. You don't expect it from us. Okay? Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, I'm overwhelmed a little bit by this new chain of events. I mean, I knew that we could turn into this. But right now, our character, she reminded me a little bit of Plague from Heaven's Secret too. Honestly now. Did we see the grin? She was splattered in blood and she was still enjoying herself. That actually took me off guard. I'm intrigued to know what CAIN feels about this. He's like, there. Looking at my bloody hands, I only thought about how disgusting and sticky the blood was. For a while, I stood there silently staring at them. I came to my senses only when I heard footsteps nearby. CAIN. The gate was broken. Breathing heavily, CAIN looked in amazement at Nick's body sticking out of the shredder. CAIN, we're in the same boat, baby. I turned her into this. I'm so sorry. I wanted to be the light in your darkness, and now I have the feeling that they will be leaning onto one another in hope not to drown in the darkness that they created themselves. Goddamn. CAIN. Both of us. Silently, he came up and hugged me and then carefully wiped the blood off my hands with Nick's cloak. Wow. And he's taken the fall for us. Now, he's a man.
It's okay. I'll say that I did it.
I thought it was unnecessary, but I didn't object. He suddenly lifted my hand and checked the scar in a strange way, as if he cared about it as much as how I was doing. As soon as he saw that it was okay, relief appeared on his face. What the fuck? Does this maybe unite us with CAIN? Maybe? Because why would he care if the scar is still there or not? He had already let go of my hand when he saw fresh blood. The nail on my pinky finger was half torn off. CAIN wrapped my hand. And did. You wanna be popular. Tearing off a piece of fabric from my clothes, CAIN wrapped my wounded finger.
What were you thinking?
I was about to say, y'all, he is pissed because he wants us to be better. He knows how awful it feels to actually be lost in darkness. And if you truly love someone, I said it so many times and I will keep on repeating it until you all know, like, you all are beautiful inside and out. You do not have to go through so much toxicity. So I'm trying the best I can to explain how those things feel, hoping that maybe I can help you prevent from going through too much toxicness during the course of your life. You do not need to be going through all of this negativity. If you truly love someone, you want them to have it better than you had. Everyone suffers in their own way. So if you truly care about someone and you see that they have the potential to go through the exact same bullshit you had to go through because they choose to make the exact same mistakes you did, you are mad. Because, especially if you warn them and they see what this negativity or those awful moments did to you and they still choose to do the exact same mistakes, you are upset because you wish them to be better. You wish them to not have to go through this. You want better for them. So he's now upset with us because we were shocked, we were sad.
about what happened at the monastery with him, and now we decided to do the exact same thing. Worry flashed in his eyes. Of course. I'm in my right mind. Don't worry. Are you sure?
I don't think you are ready to do something like that.
Yeah. Kira was important to the squad and its mission. I needed to save the book and save her life in time. Looking at the hand I'd been ready to sacrifice, I thought about how the compassion in me had died, not only for others but also for myself. The result is more important than the prize. Are you sure?
Are you okay? Can you walk?
Yes. CAIN looked around the room. His gaze fell on the pit. CAIN is worried about you, of course. His gaze. I have no idea if he cares that she gone or if he's worried about what the squad will say.
Kira.
Dead. Fell into the pit.
I see.
With a heavy sigh, CAIN picked up the book and beckoned me to follow him.
Take me to the others. We need to get them out of here. The demon had a watch with a countdown on it. I'm not sure, but there might be a bomb in the building.
Damn. CAIN showed me the watch face. The numbers on it were gradually decreasing. Abruptly, he shielded me with himself and began peering tensely into the passage we had used to enter the bunker the first time. A few seconds passed, and then the general appeared holding a weapon in front of him.
Is everything okay? Are you alone? Are you safe?
The others followed him out. I glanced at everyone, trying to see if they were all there.
Did you deal with the cultists? No, most of them fled as soon as they heard some kind of signal. If it weren't for that, we probably wouldn't have all escaped.
CAIN threw the watch he'd found at the general.
Did the signal come from something like this? I took it off a cultist. The countdown will end soon. Do you know what's for? No. Then we need to hurry.
The squad passed through the bars. As they got closer, Greg's gaze fell on Nick's body sticking out of the shredder. No, with all due respect, Greg is for the best. Not the way we massacred him, but that he gone, because he literally, there was no way to save him anymore. When you arrive at the point where you are actually fine with having another person die by your hand, you actually enforcing death onto someone else, then you have reached a point of no return. It takes a lot out of someone to could be capable to kill someone. And once you are capable to kill without it actually causing any sort of negative reaction out of you, that means that you are done. He was ready to have everyone die.
What happened to him?
After pulling his former friend out of the grinder, he fell to his knees.
Nick.
The squad turned away from the unpleasant side. Me.
What did this to him?
Ooh, CAIN. He actually taken the fall. No, honestly, I feel... Why does he always need to take the BS? Why? Why does he need to take the BS? They should know that it was us, if you ask me. They should know, so that that way they know that we're not such an innocent thing and that they can try us. Every single time something goes the wrong way, they keep on singling us out. They better stay in their lane. No, I don't like that he's taken the fall, but he's willing to do whatever it takes to protect us. And he feels that this is the way he has to do it.
Me, you killed Kira.
For a few seconds, each of us stood in silence. At first, it seemed like no one had heard CAIN, but when I looked at the other faces, I realized that they simply couldn't believe it.
Is this some kind of joke?
Does it look like I'm joking? Do you see the blood on me? CAIN shook his head and Anna turned to me. Dead, babe.
Simona, where's Kira?
Rushing to me, she shook me by the shoulders.
Where is she? What happened?
I should, Again, I'm always here for straightforwardness, but again, being a bitch, as in a bad bitch, and being straightforward are two different things. You can view someone as an asshole for being straightforward, but I'm just being honest. I want you to know that whatever I do or say has a meaning behind it. So when I say something bluntly and it offends you and it hurts you, I'm not saying it to actually hurt you. I'm saying it because I want you to know that I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for you. There are things that you should sugarcoat because there are things that will actually have your mental health deteriorate. So you should actually be capable to say it a little nicer, to have a little more humanity, okay? But there are things that you can't sugarcoat and you shouldn't do it, because when people are like willing to actually lose themselves in the delirium, you can only be harsh. You can only be straightforward and tell them, bitch, that's not how things are. Are you dumb? For them to actually wrap their head around it. Sometimes you need to force people out of their state of denial. So that's when I actually say, be straightforward. But if you truly care about someone and you are in a state of denial, we do not go straight forward and say, yeah, she did, bitch, get over it. As much as I hate them and hate what they've done to us, and I did say I'm fine with them dying, yes. But first off, I would never pull the trigger myself, first off. Second off, I do not want to, and that's also a message I want to give out to all of you, like for everyone that has been suffering because of a specific person or because of family, etc. You get what I mean. I would never, ever allow them to ruin me. I value my humanity. I value who I used to be before your toxicity came into my life, deciding to break me. You will not be the reason that I stop being who I am, who I know I want to be. You will not be the reason that I stop loving myself. You will not be the reason I change. And me, as much as I have been hurt, and I can be pretty cold to specific people and to a specific topic, but this is who I am, y'all. When it comes to love, everyone is vulnerable, I fear. Spare her feelings. One of the hatches wasn't strong enough. It wouldn't support Kira's weight. It all happened very quickly. And I was grateful to you for choosing the right thing to say. Again, we're not lying. We're not sugarcoating it either. We're using humanity. As soon as the weak light illuminated the bottom, the general turned away, his expression inscrutable. Yep.
She's dead.
Yeah, the light. And I rushed to the dark hole, but the general caught her and blocked her way. I noticed that his fingers were pressing into his sister so hard they turned white.
There's nothing to see there. The clock is ticking. We don't have much time. Will you open the bunker or should I do it?
The general nodded to Portia, who was watching the squad's grief from the side. Running to the door, she pushed aside the hand of the hanging corpse and began to fiddling with the mechanism. I can move the balls, but I can open the door without electricity. I need strength to pull this giant toward me.
That's not a problem.
CAIN is a menace, and I love him for it. It took a squad a few minutes to clear a path into the bunker. Portia went inside with the others. Only a couple of people, including me, remained where they stood, still digesting what had happened. Turning around, I noticed how much Anna's hands were trembling. She now is at the bottom. Deserved, sorry. With all due respect, she needed that wake-up call. Stop being a bitch. She clenched her fist and covered it with the other hand, trying to stop the shaking. None of the squad can afford to mourn their friend now. There are too many things we all have to worry about. Mourning is a luxury for them. Judging by CAIN's countdown, we only had about 10 minutes left. 5 minutes later, Portia finally came out of the bunker. In her hands, she was holding 2 bags filled with documents.
Here's everything that concerns the Order and each of its members. I think this information will be useful. It's better to take it with us than to leave it here and let it disappear. The squad will have a chance to look at the documents later. We ran out of the research center exactly as the watch CAIN had taken peeped.
Its signal merged with the rumble of the earth breaking apart and the howl of a swarm of abominations. Great. The road beneath us began to shake and disappear from under our feet. In my eyes, how were they capable to actually plant so many abominations in one place? In the distance, houses and poles were already falling. The dark creatures were rapidly approaching. God damn it. Shouldn't it be done now? I can't see a damn thing. Why is it still dark? Lester was right. There was something wrong with the weather.
Those your things. We need to run to the train as quickly as possible.
Each of us got rid of the burdens that were weighing us down. The backpack I had taken from Portia flew off my shoulders. I couldn't throw away the second one with white and light, which I had with me since Oxford. After dumping our burdens, we sped up significantly. The train appeared ahead. Moving our legs with the last of our strength, we noticed how it was beginning to move away. The doctor popped out of the carriage and was waving his arms, urging us to speed up. I was about to say, he's gonna speed up, leaving us all here. Balan appeared behind him, noticing Ania and the others. The demon flew toward the squad. He grabbed those who were exhausted and rushed forward. Wow, okay. All of a sudden, they are all working together with the squad. I don't understand. The train was accelerating faster and faster, but with the help of the immortals, we managed to get inside. The hell? My god. Oh my god. No, y'all, I'm actually petrified. Like, what is this turning into? First off, again, where the fuck are all these abominations coming from? Second, how many humans are still alive on Earth? If wherever we go, there are a billion of abominations. The world is dead. Like, there are barely any houses still left standing. And in those houses, there are a billion abominations and maybe one single human being. As soon as we closed the doors behind us, the abominations hit the windows. God damn it. They swarmed the train and began climbing on top of each other, trying to get inside. The hell? What the fuck do these abominations want? Do they actually feed on flesh? Now that I think about it, yes, they feed on human flesh. Like, CAIN was standing outside in the last episode and they didn't touch him nor nothing. But they wanted to get to us or to the general because we're human. The carriages groaned and the train started slowing down gradually. There was nothing but darkness visible through the windows. Great. And now there was a terrible roar, making it hard to think. I sank to the floor, covered my ears, and simply hoped to survive what was happening. A few moments passed before I realized that the screams were no longer audible. Removing my hands, I noticed that all the sounds around me had disappeared, even the noise of the train. Oh my god, I have the feeling we are in some kind of... how can I call it? It's not an astral projection, more like, I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking right now. Like, there are people in fantasy shows that also bring that sometimes into consideration, that people have the sight. They can, like, see more than humans. And let's be honest, with all the strength that we all of a sudden had and our eyes glowing red, I have the feeling that we also were part of an experiment, not just CAIN. I mean, partially that theory died last episode when he said that this is something he got from his brother, so he is immortal. But because of what his brother did to him or gave him, he's not really an immortal anymore. He's like something different or something more than a normal immortal. So we have the sight and we can see more than other human beings. So while the others are like stuck in darkness, maybe we have the capability to like see, I don't know, the auras of other supernatural creatures in the darkness or something like that, because our eyes are glowing. Like, if you get what I mean. Frightened, I groped in the darkness trying to understand where the others were, but there was nothing around me. Oh god. Y'all,
I think we actually died. I think we did something. What can I tell you? This episode was something else. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Kira died, but I'm more surprised of the dark turn that our character is going through. But we will see what next episode will be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.